God forbid you just stop the car until the track is definitely clear. I mean,
when have you seen a hurricane in Texas? Well, it happened that day.
What's all-star about having every driver? I mean, it's ridiculous.
Good guy, ass. Good guy, can't drive a race car. Sorry.
You're listening to the Foreign Fuel Podcast.
hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Foreign Fuel Podcast. I'm your host, Dom Capilupo, joined by Sam Dooley and Wesley Riddle. We are here for an Anduril 250 race at the base at Naval Base Coronado in San Diego preview. Felt like I did a pretty good job not stumbling over myself that time like I have with long race titles before. But first time ever racing on any military base, not only just a naval base. And I bet the entire industry, I know we're all excited about it. And who knows? I think, Sam, I think we were talking about this before we even hit record. This could go one of two ways. It's either going to be a complete and utter shit show, or it's going to be one of the best races of the year.
Yeah, and that's kind of the unknown. That's what we had going into the Chicago street course. Kind of anytime that we go to a different track, a new track, especially a street course, is that you really don't know. Unlike going into the first Chicago street course, we kind of know who's more than likely going to be up front for this one. But at the same time, we really don't, because despite SVG, being a world class, best road racer that we have, and we think he'll be up front, but it's still an unknown. We haven't even seen cars on the track yet. I believe they're doing their track walk, or they just got done with their track walk, because Gluck was talking about live streaming it. I haven't gone back and watched that yet, but yeah, it's just going to be really, really interesting. Like I said, we assume that it's going to be an SVG masterclass, runs away with it, but you just don't know. The track looks really bumpy. That's what we were talking about earlier before we started. Surface looks interesting, and another thing that everyone's kind of brought up, and we'll just reiterate, is that those cautions are going to be long. I believe NASCAR's put out that they're going to be like stingy on the cautions, like. You're going to have 3.4 miles, or is it 3.4, 3.14? It's a long-ass track. It's over 3 miles. Either way, you're going to have 3 miles, so if you spin out, you better figure it out pretty quickly. I'm assuming we're going to have a world ender at some point in some blind spot for a spotter somewhere, and they're going to learn from it, and they're not going to push it as hard in that area. But my biggest concern is just how bumpy the surface actually is, looking at, the iRacing stuff that they put out and all of that. So that's my concern on it. And that it could, obviously, like any place that we turn left and right, it could just be stunk up by, the 97 being out front the whole time. So that's what we think will happen. But once again, you never know. It's a big question mark going into this, because we really don't know what the track's going to race like, what the guys going to race each other like, how racy it's going to be. There's a lot of questions, and it's going to be fun to find out the answers this weekend.
Absolutely. And Wes, this track is like no other we've seen before. Yes, it's built like a street course, but I mean, when you look at the track itself, there are so many fast parts to this racetrack, and that's not something we saw at the Chicago street course. So I think this track could kind of lend itself to some harder hits and some bigger incidents, just because, first off, you're not going to have enough spotters to cover over 3 miles of racetrack. And that was kind of the big problem at Chicago was just, if someone gets in trouble in a narrow part of the racetrack, I mean, we saw the last year, like a big parking lot when Hocevar made the mistake, and people just kept piling on in there like 10 spots deep.
Yeah, Sam kind of alluded to it with the just inconsistent and bumpy straights that we're going to have. There's going to be parts where, you're entering a corner and you just miss your brake mark just by a hair from where you think it might be. and you hit the bump the wrong way, it's going to send you probably spinning and head on into the wall. That's like something that every time you go to a IndyCar street circuit, a lot of the guys sometimes in incident get swept up because of that very reason. And it's very likely that it could happen pretty much in any corner that we're going to head to. But it's going to be very exciting. I think we have 16 turns. Temperature's not going to be too hot, which is nice. So it's definitely a good time of year for NASCAR to be heading to San Diego. Just a great city. I feel like they've done a great job promoting the event. And hopefully the track is going to be in good condition just for a solid race. And just we can avoid as many as many cautions and torn up race cars as possible, because less cars in a road course or street course race definitely kind of drags it out. It's not that entertaining when we have less cars on the track at a street course.
Yeah, you're looking at 220 lap stages and then a 35 lap stage to end the race, hopefully, if we don't get overtime after overtime after overtime restart. Well, I should say the first stage is going to be 20 laps, and then the second stage will probably end up being about 15, 16 laps because of the stage caution, which is usually 15 to 20 minutes as it is. And if we're looking at approximately, they're saying about 6 minutes a lap under caution, you're going to have at least 3 to 4 laps under caution. So listen, if you need to hit the grill, go to the bathroom, grab a cold beer, do it when the stage happens, because you're not going to miss anything for a half hour. And that's just the unfortunate circumstance. There's not like there's a shortcut these guys can take to shorten the lap. And it would be too confusing to create like an alternate like restart zone, like maybe halfway through a lap. So yeah, if you need your extended break, make sure you do it during the stages. And I'm afraid of overtime because, man, there's so much that's going to happen, and there's a lot of track to happen before they get to the white flag, to we could get multiple overtimes. We could hit the scheduled distance at, let's say the race starts at 4:30 Eastern. We could get to the scheduled distance at 7:30, 8 o'clock, and then be there for another hour, hour and a half just in overtime. And that's what we don't want, because we don't want this special event to just kind of be tainted because we thought about how long the race went. And like you said, Sam, before we started, this race could be 4 hours just running normally, let alone overtime.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm hoping that by the end, these are the best stock car drivers in the world. And so I know that doesn't help us much when we go places like this because they still wad them up with the best of them. But um, hopefully by the end, I expect a lot of cautions at the beginning, or at least a lot of spins. Hopefully, not collecting a bunch where we have to go through a lot of cautions. But I expect them to overstep the bounds a couple of times. But hopefully, by the end of this thing, they've kind of got it together and they know where they can push hard, what they can do, what they can't do. And hopefully, that little thing in their head that says, hey, let's bring the car around instead of, wadding it up here for, 12th and then end up finishing 36th because everyone's still on the lead lap. Hopefully that little thing in their head goes off and is like, no, let's not do that. But you literally never know these guys, because some guys will just throw it in there with no regard for themselves or anybody else to help gain a spot or two. So hopefully by the end, everyone's learned enough to just kind of chill out, make it through, and then kind of go for that extra spot, like at the end, last ditch effort if you have to.
Yeah, 100%. So I feel like people have talked about it, but this is going to be more of an event than a race. 250th anniversary of the United States itself, and getting to race on a military base is like super cool. And as it sounds, this is a one and done deal. And we could be looking at the Chicago Street Course returning next year, which is exciting because I'll admit, when they first announced the Chicago Street Course, I was not the biggest fan of it. I was like, what are we doing? But they have scaled back the road courses. Having 4 in the season, I think, is a good balance. And the Chicago Street Course by the end was an exciting race, and not many drivers complained about it. Everyone kind of liked it. So if they could bring that back, it'd be pretty exciting. Sam, I know you went, and I know you said good things about it being there. So that's exciting as long as it doesn't sacrifice Chicagoland. I don't want to sacrifice Chicagoland for the Chicago Street Course, though.
Yeah, that's really important to me. I'm actually going to Chicagoland this year, coming up in what 2 weeks or whatever. July 4th weekend, I'll be up there. I got a buddy I'm staying with. But yeah, I went to the street course. Second year that it was done, and it was really fun. It was very much a festival atmosphere. It was very much an event too, but we had got to the point where it had become a real good race. Right there at the end, where you could actually do something, um, and so I would be cool with that coming back. I mean, I'd probably make a trip back up there if it came back, just because I love the city of Chicago, and it's a great place. It's a great place for NASCAR fans, and that's why they need to keep Chicagoland too, like we're talking about. But yeah, I'm hopeful for the future of racing in the streets of Chicago again. I know it's expensive, but if they're talking about it, that means they've probably seen at least a little bit of return on their investment. So we'll see where all that goes. But I'm excited for this weekend too. And even though it's a one and done, it'll be really cool to see.
Yeah, it's one of those events that I feel like years down the road, everyone you'll look back at it and be like, that was pretty freaking awesome. And so I just want first off, is it SVG or the field? I I mean, I'm saying SVG, but do you guys think the field has any chance this weekend?
I would say so. It's you know, it's a, it's going to definitely play into SVG's advantage. Um, but I feel like there's still the likelihood that with this being a track that nobody has competed any laps on, that it will be a little bit closer. I feel like when SVG first popped onto the radar, we thought SVG, would take time to build up and kind of learn, grow on these road courses as he's had more time. And sure enough, as he's had more time sitting in the next gen car, he's been able to extend and dominate and further perform. But it seems like the earlier that he's in the car, like we saw at Coda, like we saw in the first Chicago Street Course race, even the second, which I know it rained, but it's going to be a little bit closer of a field. So I feel like the chance and likelihood of there being a different winner other than SVG is possible. I know SVG's been in the next gen car, but just because it's a new track, if there's going to be any road course this year that he could lose, I mean, the Roval's gone, so we don't have to worry about that. It's going to be this one.
Yeah, I mean, you look at that second Chicago Street Course race. The only thing that stopped him there was Chase Briscoe just, I mean, losing all traction in the wet and cleaning him out. And I mean, it's very possible that could happen this weekend too, on a restart, just at any point. We see on that iRacing video Anthony Alfredo did. I mean, these cars are getting air down that one downhill part. So who knows if that's actually what's going to happen. But I mean, if that happens, when you get 4 tires off the ground, you lose traction with these cars, and it's pretty easy to lose control. And who knows what's going to happen? You have that chicane like right before pit road. That could be chaos. You have these high speed parts, and I mean, all it takes is one good tap on the wall, and you could break a toe link and really just kind of kill your day all of a sudden. Now, what I'm interested in seeing is if Christopher Bell can't do the whole race, the exciting part is seeing Brent Cruz hop into a cup car on a street course because we know how good Brent Cruz is at road course racing. And for him to kind of break the mold and get into that cup car would be pretty cool. Not saying I want Christopher Bell to get out of that car, but say Bell is feeling uncomfortable, just start the race. You could do a driver swap without losing a lap and give Cruz a chance to at least get Bell points, more points than probably Bell could racing through pain and inability.
The thing I'll say for that is if they're gonna decide on doing a driver swap, they need to really decide early, because if you wait too late, it's going to be really hard for Brent to even have a chance to get stage points, even with the flip strategy, just because of how far he'd be behind. And if there's not, let's say there's not many cautions, if everybody's keeping their car pretty calm in the first stage, second stage, it's very likely we don't see any wrecks, or we might see some spins, but we might not see a caution at all. And if that happens, that's just really going to dig their team even deeper into the later parts of the race. And then also Brent's just not racing around people that he would need to be getting the experience with just to learn, how to pass guys, especially in the Cup Series. So they need to make sure that their decision is made, I feel like, pretty early. Make sure Bell, after practice qualifying, just assess where he is, and then come race day, have that game plan for what lap they're going to make that decision. I wouldn't say they should rely on Bell if he starts, unless he starts getting uncomfortable in the race. But if Bell has any kind of doubt that he's not going to perform to his 100%, they need to make sure they get that driver swap in early.
So the one thing is they did say now in the rule book that stage points earned by a relief driver do not go to the starting driver. So stage points aren't really going to matter unless they're really concerned about owner points. So Bell can't get stage points if he gets relieved for before the end of the stage. And the one benefit is means Brent Cruz is going to get a whole O'Reilly race of experience on the racetrack. And do you think they would even think about, because when you're listening to this, it's coming out Friday morning. They're practicing Friday afternoon. It's a 50-minute session. Do you get Brent Cruz into the car for a few laps just so he gets a few laps in the car just to kind of get through everything? Maybe, because the whole shifting is different in that car, and I'm sure the marks are just a tick different on there. Or if like Bell's good, he just runs the whole thing.
I don't think it would be a bad idea to do that. Like if you're able to throw him in there, I don't know how the schedule lines up with Xfinity practice, and whatever that is, what Xfinity qualifying, all that is. But don't get in the way of his stuff doing that. But like, if Bell's okay with it, which at the same time, if Bell feels fine, then Bell needs that whole 50 minutes. Um, but if you want to hedge your bets and do that, like, I don't see why you wouldn't do that per se. You could also do so, like, maybe if one of the other guys is like, I'm good, you could throw him in one of the other cars. I mean, I don't necessarily think anybody's just going to say, no, I'm good. I don't want any of this, 1 hour of practice, which is the only practice that I have. But, um, if it's possible, just trying to get him in a car, I believe that's a good idea. I just don't know how feasible it'll be because everybody's going to need that practice. They're going to need every minute on that track that they can because you want to know what the car is like for a qualifying run. You want to know what that car is going to be like after 5 laps, after 10 laps, Lord, if you could get 15 laps in during practice. I don't know how long these laps are going to be, but it feels like it's going to take us a while to get around that track. So, you kind of want to know what it feels like at different points of the run. So I don't necessarily know if they would, but that would be a good idea if, like Wes said, if they make that decision kind of early and he kind of knows, hey, like, I'm not going to be able to do this whole thing. Throw the kid in there for a couple laps just so he can get the feel of the car, because I don't know how much seat time he's actually had in that car, if at all. Like, with the sim, he's been in there a couple of times, but even then, probably not what he's been mainly focusing on. So it would be good to get him some seat time, but also if Bell thinks he can go, Bell thinks he can go, and Cruz is just going to be there in case Bell's arm or wrist is just falling off the bone, and they need to throw him in to finish the last however many laps or whatever.
Has there ever been two drivers to practice one car in the same practice session? I know, like qualifying, there's relief drivers, and obviously the race. But have there ever been two drivers? I'd be curious what the rule is on that.
I feel like there has to have been back when, even if you go back to some injuries or some.
And I thought like Dale Jr. and Truex, but I think I feel like neither of them, like I don't feel like they split the car in practice.
Yeah, if anyone's listening, we gotta see if someone could dig that up because I'm sure it
Yeah.
has happened. Like,
Just curious, yeah.
was there any time back when people were like guys were running double duty and they were at different tracks and they flew in late and just got in late enough to maybe sniff maybe like 10 minutes of practice? Because I mean, I know we've had times where like someone would practice the car and like say like the Denny Hamlin Eric Almirola deal. Like sometimes Almirola would practice and be there, but then Hamlin would get in time for qualifying, or even that Milwaukee race where he didn't get there in time for even the start of the race, and they took Eric out of the car, and I mean Denny went on to win. But yeah, no, that'd be an interesting tidbit because I mean I don't see why there would be a rule against that.
Right. It's just something, I don't know, the time I feel like it makes sense with the race because, if one driver's somewhere else and then the other driver, the backup is there filling in, they probably wouldn't put the driver out of town in the car during the practice session, right?
Hmm.
Just because even if he flew in, I don't think they try to rush him to get his suit on and get in the wheel for what, 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's ever happened, for like, and I get it with qualifying, but then no, you don't have two people qualifying. But I don't know. I'd be curious to know.
Yeah, I mean that's something we'll have to try to dig up. But one thing I want to touch on before we get into segments, though, I mean, it was officially announced that Jesse Love will be driving for the Wood Brothers starting in 2027. Josh Berry, obviously, out at Wood Brothers, still trying to figure out where he's going to be in 2027. But Jesse Love leaving Chevy and Richard Childress Racing to go to Ford and kind of that Penske pipeline. And this really seems like the first time it's like since Ryan Blaney that this is a potential stepping stone into a Penske car because Jesse Love is young, talented, has an O'Reilly championship to his name, and with a driver like Austin Cindric who hasn't been able to really perform probably what to the standards of Team Penske, you had to think maybe this is a 1 year deal, and then if Jesse Love does good next year, you could see Love in the two car starting in 2028.
This does feel very much close to Ryan Blaney. That's kind of what I was thinking whenever I heard it announced. Because you're right, it's the first time that it's really been a young guy stepping in there that could end up being at Penske. Um, on the Josh Berry side, I don't think he did anything wrong. I think the Fords entirely have struggled. He won a damn race in the 21. That hasn't happened in a long time. I think what was it? Was it Blaney the last one that won in the 21 before?
Harrison Burton won
Oh yeah, he
Daytona.
won
Oh, and
Daytona.
Josh Berry did win Vegas last year.
Well, that's what I was saying was
Oh
the
yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
one
But
before
yeah,
that.
then Harrison Burton won at
He won
Daytona.
a Daytona. So the first non Daytona race, non restrictor plate race since Pocono with Ryan Blaney. Um, so like I you know I think I heard Dale Jr. say it. I heard him quote. He was like, "Yeah, there was dudes that made like an entire career off of winning one Cup Series race," and that just kind of shows the changes of the times and kind of how it is. But the driver is usually going to be the first one that gets blamed when the car is bad, and this car. Not only have the Fords overall been struggling, but then you take into account that it's also the Wood brothers, which I know they're built in the same shop. Don't know the inner workings of how everything works and everything with them and Penske, but Penske's been struggling. So even if they're the fourth Penske car, they're gonna be the fourth best of an already struggling team. Like you've seen how Joey's performed this week, which I don't even want to open that can of worms. It was bad again, and I don't even want to talk about that. Um, you look at like Cindric, how much of that is Cindric, how much of that is the car, but he's the third best. The only car that's really been performing is Ryan Blaney, and we know he's a premier, top five driver in the field, right? And even he's had struggles with this car. So, you look at it and it's like overall that's going to be the fourth best Penske car, if you want to call it that. Um, So the car didn't help Josh, and I think that this is more. If I had to guess, this would be a Penske decision, because like you said, they probably want to groom him to be the next Penske driver. Because with Josh Berry, you were never getting that, because Josh Berry, it kind of felt like he was a filler to begin with, because he's what, 35, 36. He's had his whole short track racing career, and then he was this awesome story, and he got up to the Cup Series. He got to do it at the premier level, and um, he never felt like necessarily a long term solution for the 21, especially with the Penske Alliance and how they've done that with them, graduating drivers into the Penske fold. So it sucks to be Josh Berry right now because now you're out of a ride. More than likely, he's gonna have to go to Xfinity. Um, but I mean, if I had to guess, he'll probably just hop into. He'll either drive or swap with Jesse Love or hop into a JRM car. Like literally anyone in Xfinity would love to have Josh Berry because he's really good, and he showed in Xfinity that he's really good. Of course, he showed it Las Vegas last year that he's really good. So, um, sucks if you're Josh Berry, but at the same time, you can find a top ride in Xfinity, no problem. And um, it's awesome for Jesse Love. I've seen his posts that he's made about it, about how much it means to him, and he's one of those guys where like you can sense that it's real, and like that he's someone that wears his emotions on his sleeve. You see his post race interviews, you see all of that. And him posting about how important that was to him and how awesome that was to him. I was really happy for Jesse Love. He seems like a really cool guy, and there's few better guys coming out of Xfinity talent wise and just good guy wise right now, and he's tops for both being a person and a talent.
Yeah, I hate it. Hate it. Yeah, I mean, you covered everything. I'm gonna hate it for Barry. Obviously, I'm a big Josh Berry fan. I think he will land in the O'Reilly series. Um, Probably he might go back to the Chevy pipeline. I feel like you said, maybe a driver swap, or maybe if somehow Junior Motorsports is able to get him back in. If Allgaier chooses to retire, he'd be a great company man to kind of fill the place there. And if he wanted to continue out there, uh, or even later, come back in the Cup Series if funding comes to be in his hands, then I feel like it could work out. But um, yeah, excited for Jesse Love. It's going to be really tough. I mean, it's taking over the 21 in this next gen. I mean, it's already the most, it's the struggling team, struggling manufacturer. They're, they're really going to have to find something. I mean, Jesse, I looked at his numbers. They don't tell everything, but third full-time season, only 3 wins, one not on a super speedway. He's only led the most laps in 3 races not on a super speedway. Three of those, let's see, 83 races. So he's still very young. He's got a lot of maturing just in his driving craft and abilities to still figure out. Um, I just hope, uh, and it sucks to say, but I hope he doesn't get in a situation like Connor Zilish is in this year, because it's really, I feel like, just demoralizing, because I feel like they're two incredibly talented drivers, but it's just such a knock on confidence, and it's so hard to keep that motivation going throughout the whole season when you're struggling. So I really hope Jesse's able to lean on Connor a good bit. If Brent Cruz gets up there in the next year, just lean on Brent, lean on the Penske guys like Blaney, like Cindric, who had a really similar career. Lean on Joey. Just lean on those guys, and he's going to be fine. But overall, still really excited for Jesse. He's definitely deserving of a Cup Series ride.
Absolutely. So we'll see how that unfolds as the year goes on. We'll see if the 21 team can just get something going and leave Barry with something, a chance to prove something if he hasn't got something lined up already. And then we'll see how Jesse Love does in a quest to try to go back to back in the O'Reilly series before going up into the Cup Series. And with that, let's jump into our segments, starting with Wesley's Wayback Moment.
Well, I can't go way back to San Diego because I don't know what happened in San Diego in a way back era. Um, I guess I was looking just to see. I was curious, had NASCAR ever run on an Air Force base? And I wonder if either of you know if that is true or false, if they have or have not.
I would have said false, but since you're asking, I'm gonna say they did.
I'm just gonna go with no because that's what my head's telling me. Even though you're asking the question, I have the same thoughts that Dom does, but I'm gonna go with no.
I mean, I thought no, and I guess this is a kind of halfsy answer. So I would say yes, though they have. This is I went way back to a year I'm very unfamiliar with, as I was not born. But it was 1960. The Grand National Series in 1960 went to Montgomery Air Base in Montgomery, New York. Montgomery Air Base is now known as Orange County Airport, which is located not too far from New York City. They raced, let's see, Sunday, July 17th, 1960, and at the time it was an auxiliary base. So it looked like they had some select trainings and certain things going on during the Korean War, World War II, to where they had certain members of the Air Force that were training at the facility, but it wasn't necessarily like a full out base. They did compete in some other motorsports events at the track. It looked like a few different series. Drag racing, they did a lot of different stuff there in the 50s while this stuff was going on. I don't know how they were able to make it work, but I guess things were a lot more loosey-goosey. But it looked like the airport was built as a training ground for the Army in 1942, and then it later became a Army base for a lot of upcoming trainees. And in this race, just looked at the top five, all familiar names. A fellow we lost last year, Rex White. Rex White won, led 63 laps of 100. He was the only car to finish on the lead lap. So if that tells you anything, pretty crazy. But Richard Petty finished second, Lee Petty third. So both Petty's there, second and third. We just lost, unfortunately, Ned Jarrett. He finished in fourth with Buck Baker in fifth. So pretty cool looking back. Just to see that they did compete one time. Now it's just I guess, regular sanctioned airport. They, I don't know when that change happened, but yeah, pretty cool to see that they did one time, and it was actually a triangle. It was not a oval. They didn't go and do a loop. They raced a triangle configuration similar to that of Pocono. So maybe that's where Pocono got their inspiration from.
That's I would have never thought about that. And I know Pocono has all their turns based off of another track, and I don't know, but I mean, it would sound interesting if that was one of the inspirations for it. And because I know like Indianapolis is for one of them. I think the old Trenton Speedway from New Jersey is like one of the corners, and I can't remember what the third corner like is supposed to resemble.
I'd be curious. The for both of you, and then for anybody listening, there is a YouTube video I found. It's called 1960 NASCAR at Stewart Air Force Base. But I think it was debunked. It looks like it was debunked in the comments that this is actually footage from the Montgomery Air Base, which is now Orange County Airport. So, and if you look at the highlights of it, it does look like it's the same track because they are running in a triangle. So there is some footage out there. I'd be curious if there's some pictures, but it's pretty cool that it's also in color. That's what I was going to say. It's pretty cool that it's in color.
You can find
But
anything on the internet, but Wilt's 100-point game. I swear. There's everything's out there except for footage from that 100-point game. I swear to God.
might be in the
Yeah,
NASCAR Classics archive. Just they buried it in there.
yeah, that Wilt's 100-point game is with the Elliott Sadler Michigan wreck, the Elliott Sadler alternate angles to the Pocono wreck.
Poor
So
Elliott Sadler, Jesus. When you say them next to each other, it's like the way he described that wreck, and then the way that we saw him get out of the car and for Pocono was like the poor guy. Just I'm surprised his career didn't end sooner after all of the wrecks he had to go through.
I didn't mean to backtrack, but I was going to say when I mentioned Rex White's name that he did end up winning the championship that year. It looked like it was one of the first like 10, 15 wins of his career, and I think he had 28 total. So one of NASCAR 75 greatest drivers, winning at the first and probably only, from what I see, the only Air Force race on a base.
Wow. So if Tyler Reddick wins this Sunday, just hand him the championship. Just give him the trophy. Wow, that might be the farthest back we'll get to in a way back moment this year, which is pretty cool. I wonder if Anthony was at that race since it was in New York.
Well, if Reddick wins, it'll be his sixth win. Rex White won that as his second race. He won 6 times in 1960. So they
Oh
could
man.
match. They could match win totals. It could be a parallel there with old Rex.
And history repeats itself, and Tyler Reddick is the new Rex White. So, man, oh man. Well, we got to keep the road course topic afloat here, and no Steve this week, but I'm gonna fill in for Steve. It's no trivia, but it's another. I know you guys loved it. It's Key 3 Cut 5, and this is gonna be road course racers in their prime in NASCAR.
I know what I'm doing this week, Sam. I did not last week.
Okay, good. So you learned the ropes. So me and Steve were team fat guy. I don't know what we're gonna be. Should we make a ship name? Should it be Wesam?
With Sam.
Samuel-y? Yeah, no, I think I'm gonna go Wesam. It's the
With
same
Sam.
S.
I like that.
Wesam. There we go. There's our team name. The important things is what we get to first every time.
With Sam floats.
With Sam Floats. Alrighty, your first driver is Smoke Tony Stewart.
Watkins Glen Leach. I
I'm
mean, that's
I'm fine without him because I've assumed how many names. So it's keep 3, cut 5.
Yep.
So
who's better than Tony on a road course minus SVG and Gordon
uh,
and maybe Rudd, maybe Bonnet.
I don't know.
I'm
Honestly,
trying to think.
that well, like even if you because he's saying in their prime too, so he could throw like a Marcus Ambrose at us, and
True,
it's like
true. I'd rather take Ambrose over Tony,
I'd
even
take
though
prime
Tony has
Marcus
more
Ambrose
wins.
every time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
sometimes
I
it's not the
agree.
cumulative stats. Sometimes it's just he's saying prime, so we're just keep that in
We
mind.
we might miss some guys, but you might not say Jeff. That's where we ran into last week. So
Yeah.
I agree. I think let's not go Tony, even though he has the stats, but there's a better.
All right, so we're cutting Tony Stewart.
Okay.
Next one up, Marcos Ambrose.
Well, there you go.
There you go. Now, is that a lock? I mean, I feel like I'm leaning more yes than no.
I mean, it is prime.
But shoot, then we're gonna shunt either Jeff Gordon, Juan Pablo, or SVG.
I mean, it is prime Marcus Ambrose. Like you got
I mean, he was gnarly.
you look at like Xfinity stuff too.
Yeah.
Dude was just good.
I mean, if Marcus Ambrose was in the 24 from 1994 to or 1993 to 2015, he probably would have won double.
He
to
wouldn't
what
have
Jeff won.
lost. He wouldn't have lost one if he was in a
Right.
Hendrick car from that time. So yeah, I
Ray
think
Evernham or not. Yeah.
I think since we're going prime and we're going talent, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna
Marcos.
go yes.
I
All right.
agree.
All right, keeping Marcos Ambrose, your third driver here, Chase Elliott.
I can't put Chase Elliott on the same echelon because I'm assuming we're probably gonna hear Gordon, Juan Pablo, and SVG. I can't put Chase Elliott on the same echelon as those guys.
I've chased way below Tony.
Yeah, so
I don't even think they're in the same S tier. I'd put Tony S tier. Chase maybe B. So yeah, I agree.
Alrighty. Next up, AJ Allmendinger.
I can't say yet.
Well,
He's
how
really
many
good.
more do we have?
You have 4 more after this one.
I'm fine with leaving him off. If we left off Smoke and Chase, I can't say that AJ Allmendinger's better than, especially not Smoke and not Chase either. Even though Chase has been bad since the next gen showed up. So I'm
Yeah.
fine with leaving him off.
Yeah, that's fine.
Alrighty. Next up, Kyle Larson.
Okay, we've run into an issue because there's no guarantee that the
I
last two are
I
going to
think we'll
be.
get. I think we will get at least 2 of Gordon, Juan Pablo, SVG.
But we've had nobody 90s or even 80s. I mean, Jeff is one, but
I don't. I'm not putting Larson in there. No. I'm not
I
doing.
mean, I don't want to, but he could Dom could throw out Morgan Shepherd. I don't think Morgan Shepherd's ever won or sniffed a dub at.
I'm gonna. I'm gonna. I'm.
I mean,
My vote is to
I'm
leave
fine with it.
Larson
I
out.
just yeah, I'm fine with it. It's just yeah, we might not get any of them.
Let's hope we
We
don't
might not
run
get
into a
one.
wall here.
Yeah, that's fine.
He's
It's
actively
better to risk
changing the
it.
names too. I bet he's sitting there.
I'm not that
Oh,
good.
this is who they're looking
It's
for.
like shoot.
All right. Well, you've cut 4, so you can only cut one more, and you got to keep 2 of the last 3 here. And next up is SVG.
Okay, we're putting him on
Okay,
there.
well we got to keep him no matter what. So next,
All right. Now you
that's a
got
lot.
Mark the Kid Martin.
What is this last name
Oh.
gonna be? Oh, now I'm scared. Oh, I'm a little. I mean, Mark Martin's not a bad name to have up there.
Mark's really good.
This is towards your expertise. I don't know anything before 2000. I'm an idiot. So
Yeah, well, no, I wouldn't say that. It's just I don't even know how many times the Mark's won, but I want to say it's like maybe like road courses total, maybe around like the 8 to 12.
it feels like anytime I watch a
I mean, it's a lot.
replay of like a 90s road course, I'm seeing at least Mark Martin up front. Like
Yeah,
I'll see like those throwback posts or whatever. I'll see him in the mix. So that's the best I can give to you. But do you
I
want to
mean,
risk it on the last name and it be, Morgan Shepherd, or do you want to hedge our bets and then leave Gordon off?
I feel like hedging with Mark Martin is almost impossibly a bad choice, right?
It feels like we're being set up, but it feels like we're being
Or
set
it
up
also
both
feels
ways,
like a
so I
cop
can't
out
tell.
because we're not even risking it.
And let's risk it. I'm fine with risking it.
That's fine, but if Mark does listen to this very specific part of the podcast,
Please, Mark.
it's not out of any disgrace or a lack or knack on your abilities.
Like I said, Mark, every time I see the replays, I see you up there. Thank you, Mark.
That's right. So yeah, I agree. It's worth the risk it.
Oh, I don't like the face that
All
Dom's
right.
making, though.
So
You know, come on.
You guys cut Tony Stewart, Chase Elliott, AJ Allmendinger, Kyle Larson, and Mark Martin. You kept Marcus Ambrose, SVG, and Alex Bowman.
Well,
he's got a street course win. I was there for it. I've got a there for it bias. Wow. So sometimes you risk it and it works. Sometimes you risk it and it doesn't. But hey, that's life.
yeah,
That's
sometimes you're wrong, but you just gotta and you're really wrong, but there's nothing you can do about it. So sorry to all the greats and congrats, Alex. You made a list.
sorry, literally everyone we cut, because we
Well,
we would probably take every single one of them above Alex Bowman. Thank you though, Alex. Glad you're back to being healthy.
in my head, there's no probably, but it is what it is. Alex finished top 20 this week.
If he goes out and wins, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Shoot, maybe with a field invert.
Street course ringer, Alex Bowman, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, fingers crossed.
Well, that was fun. Now, on to underdog drivers going into this street course this weekend. And one guy I've got my eye on is Joey Logano. Seems like he did pretty solid results-wise at Chicago Street Course. And Logano wasn't too bad at Coda, I feel like. They're quietly right around the top 10. And Logano's not going to make the mistakes. I mean, he might get run into and he might run into some people, but he's not going to be the guy that screws up so bad it derails his day on his own. And I think Logano wouldn't be surprised if he walks out of San Diego with the top 10.
I've man, there's a few different names I can say, but I'm actually going to take Austin Hill. I feel like that this is a track that, we haven't had any laps on like we talked about earlier. I was really impressed with how good Austin did in the Chicago Street Course race last year. He finished ninth and he ran pretty much top 15, top 17 the whole day. I feel like that, now that he's had some consistency, having one seat in the Cup Series, and of course he's going to be in that O'Reilly race. I don't know if there's going to be a lot of car takeaways, but just track knowledge takeaways, adjusting the brake zones. I feel like it'll be easier to adjust a little bit than to not have those laps at all. So I think Austin Hill can really go out there, and he also does pretty well. He's always up front, top five in the O'Reilly races on the road courses. So being a street course race slash Air Force Base, I think Austin Hill is going to be a guy to honestly be sneaky top 10.
Um, so I kind of wanted to go Denny Hamlin, but that feels a little cheeky because he's second in points, even though he's absolutely terrible at road courses. I'm not going to do that because we all know who Denny Hamlin is. He could rip it off and you'd be the fastest car. You never know. I'm going to go with actually Alex Bowman. Look at that. He's got the win at Chicago, but overall, you don't really think of him when you think of road course, street course racing. So I'm going to look for Alex Bowman, top 10, kind of what you're shooting for. Um, and honestly, I think it could be literally anybody that's racing for second. Like you don't know who's going to be who's going to be racing for first, or we think we know who's going to be racing for first, but that 30 seconds back of SVG, there it could be literally anyone, and just whoever kind of picks up the track a little better over the weekend.
All righty, so we got Joey Logano, Austin Hill, and Alex Bowman as our underdog guys this week. And now that takes us into what really matters, the fantasy draft. As we go into this week, Steve extends his lead after a 98-point day at Pocono. He sits at 1,494 points. Sam in second, down 77. I overtook West by 1 point for third with 1360, and then 135 back with 1359 is Wes. And not by virtue, but just happens to line up, Wes gets to lead it off, and I mean I could probably already pencil in what he's gonna pick.
Well, I feel like, I lost all the points that I would have had, but I missed 3 weeks. And then the draw killed me by virtue of results. It did horrible for me. It did horrible. And then last week I was back, and even though I picked Hamlin, had two picks, absolutely. Well, Bell cost me 20 on the last lap for pitting, and Bowman being Bowman. So, oh man. And of course, I had first pick, but it's like I feel like picking SVG's not a guarantee. Just, I'd feel more confident picking him at a track he's already been to. But I've got to take him. I don't think he's going to be as dominant as people think, just because he doesn't have the laps yet. First time for everybody. But we came back to San Diego in 5 years, or in 5 years in a row. He lapped the whole damn field. But
Hey, you had me a little excited there for a second, thinking you might not pick him.
well, my pick luck the last 4 weeks is took me pretty much from first to last. So
Well, I'm gonna roll with Todd Gibbs. Think that was I think that's the second best pick on the board.
Yeah, that's how I was looking at, because 3 times at the Chicago Street Course, all 3 times in the top 10. That'll play. That'll definitely play. Plus, he's good at all road courses. I'm going to pick another guy that's good at road courses. I'm going to go. Make sure I have him. Okay, I'm going to go Tyler Reddick.
All right, and now Steve gets 2 picks here based off of average finish from the Chicago Street Course. He's getting Chase Elliott, and then he is gonna get
His favorite driver.
Joey Logano.
There you go, Steve. And then that'll wrap around back to me, correct?
Correct, Mundo.
Uh, I'm gonna go then. I'm gonna go off script because I usually go almost exclusively off of driver averages. I'm gonna go with Connor Zillage.
It's a good pick. Wes and I talked about it. If he can get 2 good weeks here, he could really kind of get into the top 30 in points and kind of change a little bit of the narrative of his season here if he can run 2 solid races like everyone knows he can on these road courses.
He's just got to put a full race together because that's what we've seen on road courses up until now with him is that it's one or two, maybe not mistakes, but things just happen to him too. If he could put a full race together, and his biggest thing is that he needs to know he doesn't have to chase down SVG. Like at a certain like yeah, you're the next best talent wise road course racer, I'd say, in the field. If we're looking purely at talent, not at results and things like that. But he's got that road course background. He's really freaking good. He's gone toe to toe with him at Watkins Glen and Xfinity car last year. Um, I think a big thing he needs to realize is that he doesn't have to chase down SVG. Just because you may be in the same car, that doesn't mean that you're going to run down this freaking superhuman. Just put together a good race. Be fine with a top five. Be like, you're not going to. It's like when a guy's trying to hit a 400-foot solo home run, like that's going to bring him back from down 12, right? You stat good days. You hear it talked about all the time from guys. Stat good days. Like you said, if he can stack a couple of good days with these road courses, then we go back into going into ovals. And it's not like he doesn't have talent. He doesn't quite have the car underneath him right now. But if he could focus on stacking good days and kind of, figure out where your good day is depending on where you are, be content with that. And don't try and overdrive the car because that's when you start to have problems, especially in a car that hasn't been very good, like a team that hasn't been very good this year.
And with that, I'm going to take the guy who gave SVG a run at Watkins Glen, Michael McDowell. He's been so good on the road courses, and even on the street course at Chicago, he was one of the first guys to really pick that track up. And I think he's going to do the same here. And he needs a couple good weeks here to try to get him back into the chase talk, really. If he gets 2 good weeks, he's right back on the bubble for the chase.
That'll take it to me. I feel like the 7 we've named are very likely 1 through 7. But I'm going to go with looking who I can pick. I guess I'm going to take Mr. Consistency, Busher. And I've got to take somebody that is going to finish, hopefully, and will run top 10 because I've had horrible weeks, 4 horrible weeks in a row. I just need 1 good week. Shoot, I haven't even had 100-point week since 5 weeks ago, and it was 103. Everybody's at least had 2 since. So, let's see. And then my next pick, I'll take Austin Hill. Yeah, I'll take Austin Hill.
All right.
I think he's got a good shot.
I don't doubt it. He had like you said, had the top 10 at the Chicago Street Course, and who knows? And this race could really be
He's
a
just
race of
running.
attrition. Yeah, I mean,
He's full time the rest of this year. He's getting the car time, the seat
Mhm.
time. He knows what this car's capable of. He's already been on road courses, and he's going to have the same advantage that everybody else is, and there's no advantage.
No, I agree 100%. And I mean, looking at the options here, Bradley Herbst is quietly pretty solid on road courses. I mean, I'm not.
I was thinking Herbst
pick
and
him.
Custer.
That
Custer
would
is too.
this would probably be the one where I wouldn't be that mad at you for picking Riley Herbst because I gave it some thought. He's pretty good. He's worth a mention at least.
And I will throw out there Corey Haim is in the car. You all have your picks: Corey Heim, Jimmy
Mm.
Johnson. I don't know if anybody would pick him, but Kevin Magnuson as well. So,
Yeah, Magnuson.
but you've got Magnuson and Heim. I feel like as two strong options.
Absolutely.
Stronger than Jimmy, if that
Yeah.
tells you something.
I'm looking at it. This guy is on the bubble as well. He's actually on the bubble, and I think he's solid. I feel like he's underachieved on road courses in his career, but I feel like he's got to get something going here. And we talked about him maybe being on the hot seat earlier in this episode, but that's Austin Cindric.
That's a good pick. I like that. And so that takes it over to me. I'm
Take
gonna.
the third Austin, Dylan.
What was how many races in a row at road courses was it that he finished outside the top 30? I think there was like 10 in a row or something.
Well,
Were
he
you at the
hit.
race? He was going to finish second, and then he hit the wall, the inside wall.
Oh my God, I remember that.
Yeah, he was check, I guess, behind SVG, right? Or somebody.
Yeah.
Or was it Reddick?
Yeah, and he just like freaking hit the last turn.
Misjudged it by hair and and then it killed his car.
uh,
He
well, I'm not gonna go with to sweep the Austins. We can leave that to Steve if we just hate him and want him to lose the points lead. Uh, but I'm actually gonna go. Hopefully, I'm not getting too cute with this, but I'm gonna go Daniel Suarez. That 7 car has just been showing up. He's been showing up. Um, he's been hit or miss on road courses, but also that trackhouse car really hasn't been that great. And so we really haven't had a great litmus test. I don't know exactly what he did that 7 earlier in the year because we didn't really have eyes on him at that time. But he's been on a huge run of late, and I could see him, quietly, working his way up there. He got that win in the Xfinity car at Mexico last year. So he's got the ability to do it at road courses, especially new road courses that not many people have been to. So I'm going to go Daniel Suarez with my last pick.
And for Steve, the numbers line up, and you know what? He probably would have picked this guy. It's Denny Hamlin, because he likes to bring it up every time we go to a road course. When I clowned him for picking Hamlin at Watkins Glen back in 2023, and he finished second. So he would have picked him anyway, I think, with what was laid out for him. So with that, your points leader, Steve, is going with Chase Elliott, Joey Logano, and Denny Hamlin. Is this San Diego or Martinsville? Sam is going with Tyler Reddick, Connor Zilisch, and Daniel Suarez. I'm going with Todd Gibbs, Michael McDowell, and Austin Cindric. And Wes is going with SVG, Chris Buescher, and Austin Hill. Now, well, I mean, you got a full weekend of racing, all in the same spot. Wes, I know you like to use this time to give some mentions to some drivers kind of taking some spots in this weekend.
Yeah, I've got it pulled up here. I wanted to start with the truck series that we'll have. I guess is the race. I haven't looked yet. Is the race Friday or Saturday?
I'd have to let me
Will it be Friday
check
It's
that. That
evening?
will
on
be
Friday
tomorrow at
at
7 p.m.
7 p.m.
Eastern.
Tomorrow at 7 p.m. Okay. That's Eastern time. So, cars will be on track not long after our podcast if you're listening. But we have a pretty good field. I feel like this list of starters is pretty nice. Jimmy Johnson, Brendan Gaughan is back. But yeah, Jimmy Johnson's going to be in the 1 for Tricon. Brendan Gaughan is going to be in the 20, interestingly, for McAnally Hilgerman, which I don't know where or how that deal came together. But Jamie McMurray will be in the Ram as he makes his return. And I don't know when the last time he raced a truck was, but 3 legendary names of the 21st century. And then you've got Kaz Grala in the 62, which is always great to see Kaz get a shot. He's going to be with Stuart Friesen's team in the 62. Parker Kligerman is back in the 75 for Freedom Racing Enterprises. Actually, no, Henderson Motorsports. I was looking at Freedom Racing Enterprises because it's not Spencer Boyd. It's Nathan Nicholson. I don't know much about Nathan Nicholson, but he's going to be, I guess, a substitute, maybe just a one-off to get some experience there for the road course. I saw Jackson Lee's in the 2. Adam Andretti is back in the 5. So a couple other, just ringers coming in. Austin Varco, he's going to be with Team Rome. And it looked like that was pretty much it. I don't think I'm missing any other names, at least for the truck series. But in the O'Reilly series, it's a pretty basic lineup. Not a whole lot of surprises aside from two that caught my eye. Alex Labay is in the zero, so it's always nice when he comes back to represent Canada. Just a really good dude, really talented guy, really good on road courses. And then Jesse Iwuji is back. So we'll have to see. Good thing Ty Gibbs is not in the race. But Jesse Iwuji is a great dude. It's really cool that he can be there. He's a veteran himself, so the fact that he can be there lined up for an event such as this is just got to be really special for Jesse. So it's nice that he's there. And also two more mentions. Baltazar Leguzman is back. He's for Young's Motorsport. Anderson Patterson, didn't see him. He's in the 32, so another one of his starts for Jordan Anderson Racing this year. But I did want to mention that this is going to be a record-breaking race because we have Jeremy Clements breaking Kenny Wallace's record for the most starts in O'Reilly Series history, which is pretty dang cool. Jeremy's been around for a long time. I don't think he's missed a start in a long ass time. I mean, he's made consecutive start after consecutive start, and it's just been a really good pace. It seems like everybody in the garage, when they talk about who the best person is to talk to about advice, they always mention Jeremy Clements. So it's really cool that he can be able to set a record by one of the other best, best in the series, which was Kenny Wallace. So the fact that they're both up there just shows, just I don't know how you appreciate the little things, right? Jeremy Clements has never had the chance to go out there and really prove himself, but he did at Road America that one year. He did at Daytona another year. He's a guy with a great personality, great spirit, and he this is exactly what NASCAR is, somebody that loves to do it. So the fact that he can go out there and race, just super cool. So really excited for Jeremy to see how he does. He's been fast this year. And then already mentioned the Cup Series guys for Sunday, Corey Heim in the 67, Jimmy Johnson in the 84, so he'll be on double duty. And then we've got, let's see, I wanted to make sure what car number. I think I'd already said it, but the 91. So Trackhouse is bringing back the 91, Project 91 with Kevin Magnussen, former Formula One driver, Formula E driver, a lot of different formulas. Just one of the, I feel like underappreciated Formula One drivers. He was really good. Pretty cool personality too. So it's nice to have him making his debut in the Cup Series.
Yeah, I mean, just a great lineup for this weekend. And I mean, that truck lineup is just stacked. So it'd be pretty cool to see if it's a couple of those guys. I know Kligerman's a great road course racer. He should have won in O'Reilly at the Roval. And I mean, just cool to see Jamie McMurray get back in the truck. We'll see if the Rams have anything, if a road course helps them out or not. And I mean, we'll see what Jimmy Johnson could do. I mean, there's probably not high expectations for him in trucks or cup, but just cool to see him get these final races of his career, because it's this in cup, and then it's this 500 next year, and then that's it for Jimmy in Cup Series competition. And I mean, just going to be a cool weekend, I will say, and hopefully we have good things to say about it. Before we sign off here, let's just take guesses on the Jeff Cluck Good Race poll. What do you think it'll be?
I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna guess 82. I feel like this is going to be one of the rare occurrences where the race might be poor, but because of the spectacle and the event and what it represents, America's 250th anniversary, and just, of course, encapsulating just San Diego and this Coronado Air Force Base. I mean, it's just a sensational event. Like to see it with one's eyes, I feel like is going to take that percentage up a little bit. So I think it'll be 82 to 86.
Um, I'm gonna go a little lower than that, but I think the same reason that Wes is talking about. It's not going to be a spectacular race, but I think all the pomp and circumstance, and I swear it better be the best flyover that we have all year, because we're literally going to be doing this on an airfield. So I'm gonna go probably 75 is what I'll put my guess at.
That's so funny because I had 78 just sitting on my head, so I split the middle of both of you. I hope everyone enjoys. Make sure you do watch it. I mean, it's really a once in a lifetime opportunity kind of event, in sports, not even just NASCAR, just in all of sports. So really make sure you tune in. It's on Prime on Sunday, and if you want to preview, just watch Friday, tonight in the truck race, Saturday at 5 p.m. for the O'Reilly race, and then Sunday at 4:30 Eastern for the Cup Series on Prime. So for Wes, Sam, I'm Dom. We'll see you next week to talk about everything that happened in San Diego.